Well, hello. this is this is so this is so incredible. This is Barbara Perkins. Good evening, and I know it's probably a really fuzzy picture because I'm walking out. Um, I'm walking out into another room because I'm on my phone now. I am hoping that you can see this because from my computer nothing was happening. So I moved into another room. I'm going to sit on my couch, hold the phone in my hand, and have a little chat with you. Hi, Marcia. Facebook is just, we love it, we love it, we love it. But I tell you, some days, this technology, if you will allow it, it will worry your last nerve. So I'm going somewhere to sit down on my couch and we'll just have a real cozy conversation while I hold the phone in my hand. Hi, Erica. Now I see you guys. I actually got on early and I got on early that I will sit and I'll wait for you all. Hey, Linda, I see you. So I'm now sitting. I am now sitting on my couch and we'll have a conversation right here from the couch. We'll give folks a little time to come on board. I think a few people may have come on and we weren't here, so they might have popped off. Hi, Juanita. I see you come in. I'm moving around a little bit through my house so that I can get my things that were set up in the other room. I'm going to bring them into my gallery area. But right now I'm going to get my fan because I'm hot. Hi, Tracy. Got my fan, I got my water, and now I will go into the gallery area. We're not going to be long, even though we're getting off to this wonderful start. Coralie, hi honey, how are you from the Bahamas? I saw Erica on. And who else is here? Gwendolyn is here. Hey, Gwen. I don't know if you heard, but I'm now on my phone. I'm holding it in my hand. I'm trying to get my little stand so that I won't have my face right up on your face. Oh, that's better. Okay. There we go. Hey, Linda. Linda's my engineer. She's giving me instructions. She's giving me instructions from... Thanks, Linda. I appreciate it. I don't know what happened. I set it up early. We tested it. It was working fine. And then all of a sudden, it just went crazy. So Linda's saying it's a little blurry. I don't know what to do about that. Um, can't help that. But hopefully the rest of you can see. We're gonna start because I don't want to keep you long. This is the dinner hour, and I'm usually very aware of the time. So I wanted to talk this evening. This is our fifth week, and it's been good. I just popping on here as a coach, doing these what I consider like little mini coaching sessions, having a conversation with you, but also having the conversation with myself. Because most of the topics we've talked about, they're things that I've been thinking about while I've been sheltered in and in this quarantine space. It's given us an opportunity to really think about some things maybe we would not have thought about had we not been forced to sit down for a minute, right? So it hasn't been all bad. We've had some conversations that were probably pending in our lives that we probably wanted to have and just put off. So certainly when we talked about grief and preparing for life as it happens, so it hasn't been bad. 5 weeks we've talked about grief and pre-needs, What do we do when something happens in an emergency like this? We talked about last week resiliency, and God knows that was important to talk about that and to remind ourselves about who we are, and especially as Black women, and even in the midst of all of this, what we can look forward to as we get through this thing. So I'm glad you're here. Hi, Valerie. Thanks for joining. Glad you're here. We have a few folks who are here for the first time. I'm loving having you here. As you know, many of you know, I've been a life coach for 20 years. This past January made 20 years. I love the work that I do. I don't even see it as work. I see it as my assignment from God. And I absolutely just love, what I do in partnership with the clients that I work with. I've been a life coach, as I said, for 20 years. I've had my own practice for 20 years. Really done it for 22 years, but I've had my practice for 20. I'm an author. I have authored now 7 books. My most recent book is Restoration, 7 Promises of God. And it's a story about the fact that God is still in the healing business, and that no matter what's going on in our lives, whether it's a major illness like what I had, which was stage 3 breast cancer, or any other illness, that He's able to restore you from that and bring you out of that onto the other side, which is why I'm so confident that we will get through this COVID-19. We will get through it. It's a lot of sadness. It's a lot of hurt. It's a lot of uncertainty. But I'm sure that we will get through it. Most of what we can look forward to depends on how we adjust ourselves and how we align ourselves. So during this time, I was thinking about, what can we talk about tonight? One thing for sure is that we have seen, in the face of all of this trauma and death and sadness and illness, we have seen the generosity of people show up. We have seen that. We have seen people step up to do extra when perhaps they may not have done that any other time. And so I thought, let's talk about this whole idea of philanthropy. Hi, Jackie. I said, let's think about it. Let's talk about it. What's a philanthropist? And have you ever thought about, because I sometimes call myself that, and I think going forward, I'm probably going to introduce myself when given that opportunity as Barbara, the life coach, the author, and the philanthropist. Have you ever thought about philanthropy and that being something a way that you would identify yourself? What is it? I was thinking about all the blessings just in my life. They run over. And I know that I wasn't blessed just for me. It's too much. It's too juicy. There's no way God has given me everything, every opportunity, every privilege that I have just for me. So I've been blessed to be a blessing. And that is a part of where philanthropy starts. And I like to use that good book, the Bible, as a point of reference for much of what I do. And in Romans 12:7, it says, if you're going to serve, then serve. If you're going to teach, then teach. If you're going to be an encourager, be an encourager. If you're going to lead diligently. And when I read that, I thought, that's all philanthropy. That's all about having a spirit of giving. And actually, hi Nobu from South Africa. When we give, first of all, we live under a set of laws, whether we know them or not. And one of the main laws that we live under is the law of giving. And the law of giving basically says, give without expectations. Okay, this is Romans 12, 7 and 8. It says, give without expectations. Now that could be hard to do. And I was thinking about my own life as I was making some notes for this. I said, I consider myself a giver, but I have not been able to say that I've not always expected something back. So this law of giving says, when you give freely, you will receive. That's a universal law. When you give, you will receive back. But here is the catch. You may not always receive back from the places where you give. And you may not always receive back in the way that you think you should receive. Now that's the place where sometimes we get caught up. So if you give, it could be monetary, it could be advice. As I said, I'm a coach, so rarely does somebody ask me a question when the coaching hat doesn't come on. I'm just going to give. I don't hold back and say, oh, I can't give them that because that's part of what I give when I'm coaching. No. Or so you may give your time as a volunteer or whatever your talent is. When you give without expecting something back, that is when you're living under this law of giving, not expecting to receive anything back. There's some absolute truths in this universe. We're one. So if you're giving to others, you're actually giving to yourself, which is why it comes back to you, right? Deepak Chopra says, when you give, it should be for the joy of the giver and the receiver. So I don't know about you, but when I'm feeling at my low, when I have those moments when I'm not feeling great, I look for an opportunity to give. I look because there's always someone in need of something. It may not be money, but it could be time. It could be food. It could be service of some kind. When I'm feeling low, I look for it. I seek out an opportunity to give. Put something in the mail. And my friends and my family, they laugh at me because I literally go to the post office. Well, before COVID, I probably go to the post office 4 times a week. I stay in the post office. I'm always mailing a package or a card or something. And I'm one of these people who I don't like to just put it in my mailbox. There's something about going to the post office that I like going and dropping. Even the folks in the post office, I give them things because I'm always mailing something. So the giver and the receiver benefits. The joy that you receive when you see the joy on someone else's face is one of the benefits of giving, as opposed to holding on to some expectation that the person you're giving to will then give you something back. And we see that a lot in these, I call those things transactions, that they're not relationships. They're relationships built on transactions. When you go into a meeting or you're in a networking kind of environment, And you know that you can almost see it. I can spot it now when people are like running around the room, and they call it a power room, and they're running around, they're taking business cards, and they're not even really meeting you. They're coming in, "Hi, my name is Barbara, here's my card, this is what I do." And then before you know it, you can't get into a rhythm in the conversation. They're off and on to the next person. I have had times when I've gone into a room and literally have spoken to the same person all evening because we're getting to know each other. Hi, Bobby. Glad you joined us. But when you are giving and you want to connect with someone, it's not in the number of people you can connect with as a giver. It is the quality of the relationship that you can have with the person when you're giving. When you give without an intention of receiving anything back, that's what true giving. There are two other universal laws that I want to mention. One is the law of gestation. And that law says everything takes time. It's like it has to, when you start to wrap your mind around becoming a philanthropist, you have to start to think about, how does this happen? What do I need to do? You don't have to have millions of dollars. You have to have a genuine, authentic spirit of giving. And then you have to decide and think about, what is the platform that I'm going to use for my giving? Just like when a woman is pregnant, it takes time for that baby to develop. This habit of giving, the difference between just a one-time gift and becoming a philanthropist is that your life is a life of giving. Hey sis, I see Deborah. Your life is a life built on giving. It's not this one-time, gift. And that's good if you want to do that. We're talking about making philanthropy a part of your way of life, right? So it takes time for that to become what you want it to be. It has to be developed. And then there's a law of transmutation. When it looks crazy, right? It gets messy. You may be just giving, giving, giving. In fact, there was a time when I thought, oh, my Lord, I'm going to be in the poorhouse if I say yes to everything. It's not that. It's not giving till you are depleted and then there's nothing left to give. But it is establishing for yourself a rhythm and a consistency around giving. That takes time, and it may look a little funny and a little messy in the beginning. You may not quite know how you give and where you give. This is where I began to think about wisdom and us having a spirit of discernment, so that of course you're not giving foolishly. You're just giving just to be giving, but you're thoughtful, you're mindful about it. You know that the gift that you're giving is going to make something happen for someone else, and the joy of seeing their enhancement is what makes it so juicy for me. When you see that what you're doing, what you are gifting, is making the life for someone else better, that is what it's about. So how do you become a philanthropist? We know we like to give. We know it actually feels good when we give, right? But as a philanthropist, there's always this burning desire to find where the need is and to be able to impact that need in a positive way. Having this, what I call an intense desire to give. That's what philanthropy is. It's consistent. It's always on. It doesn't go away. It's not this one-time thing. And the desire to give could just be your time. It could be a listening ear, right? It could just be a feeling that you want to make someone else's life better. Having a clear understanding of what your gift is. Hey, Regina and Joy. When you have a clear understanding of what your gift is to give, then it's no longer so confusing. You know the places where you can deposit your gift and where on a consistent basis you can help to turn a brighter light on in somebody else's life. That's what philanthropy is. Philanthropy is when you know what that gift is, and the most important thing is when that gift doesn't have an expiration date. You know, when you're not counting like you're counting widgets. Oh, well, I gave her 4 times, I'm not giving her anything else. No, not that. I talked about the spirit of discernment. So you're not going to be taken advantage of. And remember, when you give to someone else, you're giving to you because there's oneness, right? So you can't be taken advantage of, really. I remember someone said to me once, I used to give, and I know a lot of y'all gonna laugh, so put your hearts up and your funny smiles up right now. I used to give to Tammy Faye Baker. I used to give to the Bakers all the time. And when they were under this cloud of discrepancies, a friend of mine said, are you still going to give them? And at the time I was living in New York and I wasn't connected. I had just moved to New York maybe a year and I didn't have a church home. My tithes went to the Bakers. And there was a point when I was a little bit embarrassed because folks would say, you still give? And I said, yes, because here's how I felt about it. I wasn't giving to the Bakers. I wasn't giving to Tammy Baker. I was giving from Barbara to make, and the intention by which I was giving was to make life better. So when they put the cause up saying you're giving for this cause, that's what I was giving to. It's just like when I see a homeless person, someone on the street, if I pull out a couple of dollars and I give them and someone says, oh, they're just going to buy alcohol, that's not why I'm giving it to them. I'm giving it to them. I'm going to bless it when I give it to them. And I pray that it works and it makes their life better in some way. My job is not to say, oh, they're going to buy alcohol, oh, they're going to buy this, or they're going to do that, or they're going to do drugs. No, I'm going to give it from a place of giving with an intention that it would make their life better. That's what giving is. It's just like charities. Certainly you're going to do your due diligence. You're not going to just, give without having any kind of understanding that you're giving for a good cause. Because there's no shortage of good causes out here. And so, to the extent that we are blessed once again, we are blessed to be a blessing. So your giving should never have an expiration date. As long as God blesses you, He is blessing you to be a blessing to somebody else. And whether that is to an individual or a cause or a church, that's the assignment, is to be a giver and an encourager. So as I wrap it up, and I don't stay on long. I'm just here to just open up the idea, and hopefully it's something you can drill down on, right? For yourselves. You can drill down on it and decide, do I want to be a consistent giver, a philanthropist? Do I need to be a millionaire to do that? The answer is absolutely not. All you have to be is someone who has a generous spirit, complete faith that the God who takes care of you every day will continue to take care of you when you give, and that the supply is limitless, and there's no need to be afraid, especially in times like this. There's no need to hold it so tightly. If you hold it so tightly, nothing can get in or out. That's what Dr. Haig used to say. But when you open up your hands and your heart freely, you can then give and receive. Your gifts back to you will come. You don't have to worry about how they're coming. They will come. The gifts that you have already received, they didn't come because you did anything to make them come to you. Those gifts were given to you for a reason. Hi, Loris. So listen, in Matthew 6:2, it says, when you give to someone in need, don't do as the hypocrites do. Blow your trumpets in the synagogues and the streets just to call attention to yourself and call attention to the acts of charity. It says, I tell you the truth, they have received all the rewards they will get. If the reason why you give to people is so that you can get something back, you are going to be disappointed because you won't. If you give to someone freely, be able to walk away from it just knowing that you've given. Just knowing that you've made life better. That you changed something significant in their lives. Giving and walking away from it, your blessing will chase you down. I can promise you that. True philanthropy is when we can give for the joy of giving. The joy of seeing someone else's good happen. Knowing that you helped to facilitate that good. That's what I love. I love to see when someone else's success. I cannot tell you how many women mainly I've coached over 20 years, and now I watch them as coaches. And I watch their business, and they're doing well. I mean, they are successful as coaches. And it makes me completely happy to know that I've facilitated that, some of that. And you walk away with no expectations. True philanthropy is knowing that a big part of our assignment here on earth is to make this place a better place for the next generation. That's our assignment. We've come here to be givers. And as I started this, I said we were blessed to be a blessing. That's who we are. I'm Barbara Perkins. I'm an author of 7 books, a life coach, and I am a philanthropist. Thank you for joining me. I have a beautiful gift that I would love to give someone. If this is your first time watching the live, this is our 5th week being here. If this is your first time watching the live, I want to give you something. I have this wonderful sister friend who now lives in Ghana. Her name is Dawn Sutherland, and we've adopted a school together. She has a program with young girls, and they've made me these masks, because you know we're going to be wearing masks for a long time. So look at this. Can you see it? All the way from Kumasi, Ghana. I would love to give this to you if this is your first time with us. So would you put in the comments first time, and then I'll reach out to you, okay? And I'll get your address and I'm going to send you it. And because it might be more than one of you, I have another one. So if it's your first time, put first time in there and I'll send it to you. And then I also, for those of you who received your gifts last week, because I sent out 3 or 4 gifts last week, hey, just put in there, got my gift. Let me know that I only go to the post office once a week, and that's on Wednesdays. So I have another gift. Tracy, who received this gift last week, sent it back to me from California because she had it already. So this gift is really from Tracy. And she's on the thread tonight. Thank you, Tracy. I received it back in the mail. This is Tammy Lee Jules, who's an international poet. I will send this to you. I'm going to send it to the person who was the most active on the thread. So I have to go back and look through the thread and see who was the most active on the thread. Oh, Regina says she got her gift. Yay! I'm glad you're here. Do me a favor before you leave. Would you share this? Look down below and share it. If you'd like for a friend to hear some of this, would you share it? Thank you so much. I love you just because. And I'll see you next Monday at 7. God bless you. Have a good night. And thanks for being here. Bye-bye.